Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
The president never said you were going to have unlimited choice of any doctor in the country you want to go to. Let me just finish.
Wait, no. He asked a question. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Did he not say that, sir?
He didn't say you can have unlimited choice.
It's a simple yes or no question. Did he say if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Welcome, folks. It's Monday. So it's the Monday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. Glad you are aboard. That was Chris Wallace, Fox News Sunday, with Ezekiel Emanuel, they call him the architect of Obamacare. He played a big role, no doubt, but there were other architects. I believe Tom Daschle was an architect of Obamacare. Probably the only person, one of the people who weren't, was Obama. But anyway, that aside, this was in response to a question from Chris Wallace. President Obama famously promised if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Doesn't that turn out to be just as false and as misleading as his promise about if you like your insurance, you can keep your insurance? And you heard Ezekiel Emanuel try to backtrack, but he admitted that Obama did say if you like your doctor, you could keep your doctor, period. You heard yes. But then, of course, Ezekiel Emanuel had a caveat, as they all do, known as proving that the statement from Obama was a lie. And here is cut 22.
But look, if you want to pay more for an insurance company that covers your doctor, you can do that. This is a matter of choice. We know in all sorts of places you pay more for a wider range of choices or a wider range of benefits. The issue isn't the selective networks. People keep saying, oh, the problem is you're going to have a selective
if
network.
you lose your doctor or you lose your hospital.
Let me just say something. People are going to have a choice as to whether they want to pay a certain amount for a selective network or pay more for a broader network.
Which will mean your premiums will probably go up.
They get that choice. That's a choice
which means your premium may go up over what you were paying. So that, in other words...
No one guaranteed you that your premium wouldn't increase. Premiums have been going up.
The president guaranteed me I could keep my doctor.
Under president, and if you want to, you can pay for it.
There you go. If you want to keep your doctor, you could pay for it. Isn't that what Obama told us, the liar in chief? If you like your insurance, you could keep it. Lie. And if you like your doctor, you could keep him if you want to pay more for him. I remember hearing that constantly from Dr. Obama. Don't you? And we're going to hear in the next segment from a woman at the Financial Times about hospitals, specialty hospitals like the Mayo Clinic and like Cedars and like the cancer hospital here in New York City, which I'm drawing Mount Sinai, not Mount Sinai, the Sloan Kettering, will not be included in the overwhelming majority of Obamacare policies. This is a disaster. They are going to kill us off in so many ways, and they've been lying to us right along. Right along, they've been lying to us. You want to hear this story out of Minnesota? Daily Caller story. Minnesota insurers still don't know who's enrolled in the state's Obamacare exchange, and they're just weeks away from the January 1st deadline. They're afraid that customers may not be covered in time. What is Obamacare? He's covered. What is Obamacare? Get it? Thank you very much. But I'm funny even when I don't intend to be funny. Julie Brunner, Executive Director of the trade group Minnesota's Council on Health Plans. Executive Director, she wrote to the MN Sure Executive Director on Friday, alerting her to insurers' ongoing problems with enrollment records. She warned that if the correct data isn't found soon, customers could experience coverage delays. So what? Nobody promised you you'd have coverage constantly. No one said there wouldn't be a big break in your coverage. Right? No one said you could keep your insurance. No one said you could keep your doctor. No one said you'd be covered right on through. And by the way, Obama did say families would save an average of $2,500. Their premiums will go down by $2,500. And, of course, Ezekiel Emanuel says, nobody ever said your premiums will go down. Man, oh, man. Sky is green, grass is blue. Always remember that, and you'll understand how the Obama administration speaks. Now, let's get to the well, by the way, 65%, Investors Business Daily carried a bad polling news for the Obama administration. The public overwhelmingly opposes any Obamacare bailout for the insurance companies and the insurance industry. 65% of Americans oppose bailing out the insurance companies and the industry if they face higher costs because of the Obamacare screw-ups. But let's not tell anybody. Let's not tell anybody. Now, folks, whenever we talk about the economy on this show, we talk about uncertainty. And we talk about why companies are sitting on money, why businesses are sitting on money, why they're not hiring, why they're afraid, because they don't know. It's uncertainty that's been going on since Obama was elected in 2009 because of his radical economic policies, because of his radical regulation, and the radical threat of more taxes and more regulation and the unknown effects of Obamacare. Businesses are scared to death. There's nothing worse than uncertainty. Businesses might even choose to, at least if they know they're going to get hit, just tell them how much they're going to get hit. It's better than uncertainty. And it's all about uncertainty. Who says that? Well, I've been saying it. Others have been saying it. But when Alan Greenspan says it, or, you know, do we call him Mr. Andrea Mitchell? No, we call her Mrs. Alan Greenspan. That's how we do it. When Alan Greenspan says it, people listen. Here is cut 13.
First and most important issue to recognize in the United States, and it's a problem to the extent in other countries as well, is that the level of uncertainty about the very long-term future is far greater than at any time I particularly remember.
Yep, at any time that he could remember. Former chairman of the Fed, of course, Alan Greenspan on CNN with Fareed Zakaria yesterday, which would have made it Sunday. So again, we have been right on target. When Alan Greenspan says this, then you know that you've been right all along when you've been saying it for years. It's true. It's a way to cripple business. It's a way to cripple the economy. It's a way to force government dependency. You cripple businesses. You put them in limbo. You threaten regulation. You threaten price increases. You threaten taxes. You threaten new programs that they'd have to pay for. And they don't know what the heck to do. They freeze. And that's what's happened. That's what's happened. That's why now we create 210,000 jobs in a month, and it's woo! Pop the champagne corks. We need 250 or more every month to get out of this. And that would take years at that rate, and we haven't even hit that yet in a month. Maybe 1 month out of all the Obama months. I don't even know. Here we go. Did I do cut 14 yet? No, here's cut 14.
Everyone agrees that it exists. There is a political difference of significant dimensions between people who believe that the extent of government intervention has been so horrendous that businesses cannot basically decide what to do about the future. For example, the percent of cash flow of business that is invested in any form of capital asset is that ratio 2 years ago was at the lowest level since 1938. It's improved somewhat, but it is still extraordinarily low. And what we're observing there is with all of this money coming in, all of the profit, the cash flow, they cannot find adequate investments to use it.
There you go. This is being done. This is not an accident. When a president's in office for 5 years and he sees that this is what his policies on the economy are leading to, and he keeps putting the uncertainty out there every chance he can. Now, this minimum wage fight, that puts uncertainty for restaurant owners and the small businesses. It's just nothing but uncertainty. He's crippling our economy, and he knows he's crippling our economy because those policies are designed to cripple our economy. This isn't a secret. And yet you got little Lukey Russert. You like little Lukey Russert on MSNBC? If the Republicans don't raise the minimum wage, do we have time for 4? Let's hit 4.
Is this a tough issue for Republicans? Obviously, income inequality is at the forefront of a lot of folks' mind these days. And do they risk looking like Grinches over the holiday season? They come out and sort of say, hey, you know what, we can't do this. It'll hurt businesses. And, you know, Chaffetz has an interesting line there saying it will hurt young people's ability to work. But this is sort of a thorny issue, is it not?
Yeah, it's a thorny issue. Do Republicans risk looking like Grinches if they don't raise the minimum wage? And what? And destroy jobs and hurt businesses. Steve Malzberg, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you have trouble remembering things you've known for years? Do you want to maintain your mental edge? Do you have trouble remembering things you've known for years? Do you want to maintain your mental edge, support your memory, focus, and attention? After extensive research, Dr. Russell Blaylock discovered 4 essential nutrients that help sustain optimal brain function. Dr. Russell Blaylock then personally formulated Crescio, the dietary supplement containing these 4 brain boosters that promote brain cognitive health, improve learning and retention. Crescio supports brain circulation and provides antioxidant protection. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Crescio. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Crescio.com/special. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, Nature's Brain Boosters, Essential Nutrients for Peak Mental Performance. Give your brain the healthy support it needs. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Crescio.com/special. That's CRESCEO.com/special. Crescio.com/special.
Meet John and Nancy. Like many people, John and Nancy have spent their whole lives working hard, saving their money and investing wisely, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But the reality is, today's world is not the same as it was. John and Nancy's stocks have taken them on a serious roller coaster ride, and it's all but destroyed their retirement funds. Their house is not even close to being worth what they paid, and to boot, their middle-class paychecks no longer cover their costs. All that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. In fact, they are no longer thinking about when they will retire, they're wondering if they'll retire. Then one day, John and Nancy heard about a man named Tom Hutchison, a veteran of Wall Street for over 2 decades. Tom noticed that the wealthy invested differently than normal people, and their methods seemed to be a secret they didn't want to share. So Tom left his job, compiled the strategies, and published them in the controversial book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. John and Nancy immediately picked up a copy, began investing, and never looked back. Thanks to Powerful Secrets, John and Nancy now have investments that pay up to 20% a year. They learned about unique tax-advantaged investments, and their favorite chapter revealed a strategy that anyone can use to turn $50,000 into $1 million. Now, John and Nancy have control of their financial future in this new reality, and they have peace of mind about their investments that they never had before. Best of all, they are back on track to a secure retirement. To get your free copy of the book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns, simply visit www.myfinancialage.org.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen. Monday edition, of course. And our first guest of the day and of the week is Stephanie Kirch-Gassner. And she has written a wonderful piece, a very informative piece. It was leading Drudge yesterday for most of the day. The new Affordable Care U.S. health plans will exclude top hospitals, which means if you need a Sloan Kettering or one of the top Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic or one of those, there's a chance that if you take Obamacare, you're not going to get into those hospitals with that insurance, and that's really a problem. So let's welcome in Stephanie. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, so in some of these states, it's not in all states, but in some of these states, your choices are definitely limited. So there's a chance you could have Sloan Kettering in the plan that you buy, but it's definitely not guaranteed, and it's in fewer plans than it is included in the plan. So it's more likely, for example, in New York State, on the individual market, only 2 of 9 plans that are being offered in New York State include Sloan Kettering.
Only 2? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, which is, of course, a major cancer center that's world-renowned.
Of course, absolutely, and it's the first thing people think of. God forbid if they need something like that. And by the way, we should mention, of course, that your piece appearing in the Financial Times. You're the DC correspondent for the Financial Times. What else? I mean, 2 out of 9. That's not good odds. Is this another one of those deals that is now shocking people that nobody knew about, or they knew and didn't and elected not to tell us?
Well, I think what's going to happen, Steve, is that people are not yet aware of this because it's actually, as anyone who's dealt with health insurance in the past knows, it isn't sometimes that easy to find out which hospitals and which doctors are in network and which aren't. And certainly I think there might be some surprises in store for people. But this is really the situation we're looking at. This is not going to be the case for people who have always had the same insurance and who have employer insurance, which is the vast majority of Americans. So we are talking about a narrow slice of the population, to be clear, who are involved in the individual market and who are now buying plans through the Obamacare website. Now, for a lot of these people, it's going to be their first shot at insurance ever, so you could argue, well, something's better than nothing. But there are other people, millions of other people, whose plans are being canceled, and we've, probably are well aware of that story, and I'm sure your listeners are. And they may have more narrow options as a result of some changes than they were perhaps used to under their old plans.
Absolutely. And, in your piece, you quote a gentleman from Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles, and he talks about how the hospitals that are being excluded are leaders in not only care but in innovation, and it saves billions of dollars for the healthcare system in the long run, and people are going to be shut out of these hospitals, so it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt the whole system in the long run.
Yeah, certainly this is not good news for patients who want as many options as possible, which is really what all of us want for ourselves and for our families. But maybe we can talk a little bit about why this is happening. This is not in the law that these networks should not be included. The reason it's happening is because we're seeing a huge transformation in our healthcare system, and there are rules that are now there to protect people, but for example, people who have previous medical conditions can't be excluded anymore, and other items have to be covered, like maternity care, where people could be kept from having insurance in the past if they wanted maternity care. But it comes at a price, and we're still learning what that price is.
And that price is going to affect lots and lots of people. When it probably would have been, I guess, more beneficial for everybody if they would have figured out a way to help those people with pre-existing conditions and who didn't have access to certain care, as opposed to penalizing everybody. For instance, you talk about maternity care. As you well know, I have to get maternity care if I have to change policies, and I certainly don't want it and don't need it. We'll never use it, but I'm going to be paying for everybody else's maternity care who will use it.
Well, that's one of the new facts of life. But the question is, do we want to have people being excluded because they don't get maternity care? So these are the questions that we're now grappling with. And in this case, insurance companies are deciding not to include certain hospitals that they think are very, very expensive, where they think you can get treatment that's more efficient in other hospitals. Now, the question is that really correct? Are some of these hospitals really inefficient, or are they just offering top-notch care? What are really the real differences in outcomes? Now, I'm not saying that I have answers to these questions, but I think these are the things that we have to start talking about.
We're talking
because some people say, actually the difference in outcomes just because you go to a fancy hospital that everyone's heard of versus a local hospital that people haven't heard of, then perhaps it's not such a big difference.
Well,
and certainly there's maybe not a difference if you're getting your tonsils removed.
Right, but if you have cancer, I'd like, if that's what the HHS says, I'd like to have them send all their people to a local hospital in the sticks somewhere, as opposed to having access to the specialty hospitals. And the American Health Insurance Plan's spokesperson, for instance, says that this new plan is going to impose all kinds of new costs to the industry, and so they have to act accordingly. So they're claiming that they're being saddled with costs, and then that's why they're doing what they're doing by excluding these hospitals. And in the long run, it's going to be the patients that are going to suffer.
Yes, I think that's true. And I think when I was doing my reporting for this piece, I had a real spectrum of reactions from the hospital administrators I was talking to. Some were definitely concerned, and even the Mayo Clinic, which I'm sure your listeners have heard of, they, in Minnesota, in the Rochester region where Mayo Clinic is located, they initially, when Minnesota initially came out with its plans, the state regulators actually got involved because Mayo was not very widely accessible, and neither were other hospitals.
It was very limited. Yeah. All right, listen, Stephanie, this is something we're going to have to keep up to date on. Thank you very, very much. That's Stephanie Kirch-Gassner, Washington, D.C. correspondent for the Financial Times. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
My pleasure. All right, folks, we're coming back. Susan Venker, founder of Women for Men. Women need husband, she says. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Men, this is the time in your life when you have more freedom to...
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Mary sits all day at a desk, which does little to relieve gas and bloating. You can't schedule abdominal discomfort, but you can help alleviate it with Back2Pro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Back2Pro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. It includes the most essential ingredients necessary to help support your healthy digestive and immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Back2Pro. Just visit Back2Pro.com/offer. All you cover is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Do something about your digestive health now. Get your 30-day supply at Back2Pro.com/offer. That's BACTIPRO.com/offer. Limited time only. Back2Pro.com/offer.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Something that we have discussed on this show in different forms at different times, but we have discussed it with the next guest, and that is Suzanne Venker. She is founder of Women for Men, and her latest piece at foxnews.com is causing quite a storm. I mean, imagine Suzanne saying and explaining why women still need husbands. How dare you? How outrageous? How controversial?
Apparently.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, I couldn't decide whether it was women needing men, whether I should say women still need men or women still need husbands. I don't know which one's more controversial. It's really sad that it has come to this, really, and that's why I do what I do and write what I write. It's not just to, you know, stir feathers, or ruffle feathers rather, but to say how really ridiculous this has all become as far as this war, really, this gender war between women and men, trying to determine who has it better or worse, or women rising and women falling, and all of this junk, which is not good for anybody. And I don't see how that's going to help anybody find any kind of happiness or peace or love in their life. And so I guess you could say I'm on a mission to try to turn that around. It's a pretty big mission.
Well, no, it's a very admirable mission. Now, you quote Jennifer Aniston, who said women want to have a baby, they shouldn't be fiddling around with a man. You know, they could do it on their own. And this generation has really, as you put it, taken their mother's advice in many cases, and they've forsaken the family life, they've forsaken having the baby, and they've decided to dedicate themselves to the workforce. But you also point out that most women, when questioned, and this goes back at least to the poll you cite back in 2007, when asked, most women want flexible work schedules. They kind of want to, and we've talked about this before, quote unquote, have it all, correct?
Right. So you started off saying that very well, in that they took this message that their mothers or parents sent them, and really they ran with it and went too far, you know, kind of ran off the cliff on the other end. Wait a minute, hold on. You forgot to get married and have kids. Don't just stay focused on that job. So that's, again, trying to pull women back and say, look, we understand why you were given the message you were given all those decades ago, but we've moved on here. And the reality is we're in a very different place today, and we have to deal with the reality of the fact that some things in life don't change, and that is human nature and biological differences between men and women. And just because we have switched up the gender roles a bit doesn't mean we need to run off the deep end with it. The reality is, when polled, women still say across the board that what they want is part-time work, or not even to work at all when their children are little, actually. And this is true now. It was true 5 years ago, and it's even true among Ivy League graduates. So the issue is not, it's too much of a pull between this idea of education and a life over here of one kind, and then just raising babies over here. Life is a very long journey. We live longer than ever now, and there's no reason why women can't have both of these things in their lives. But they're not going to be able to do it all at one time. and do it well. And they're certainly not going to be stress-free if they do. So I'm trying to not do what, of course, my naysayers say I am, which is put women back in the kitchen, but to say, look, there's a way to do this in such a manner that you don't have to suffer so much and you don't have to go out and prove yourself. Just relax a little bit and enjoy being female. It's not a bad thing.
We're talking to Suzanne Vanker, founder of Women for Men, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So how are we going to see this culture shift back to, I won't say back to tradition, because that would imply putting women back in the kitchen, and you say you're not for that. But I mean, how are you going to interest women in marriage again, and how are you going to convince them, and how are you going to stop it at the university level, and the feminist influence on young women who are still telling girls that do it on your own, you don't need a man, and men are nothing but evil in the first place.
Well, it's hard, because there's no question that the power is in the hands of feminists who have a lot of money and a lot of friends in high places, and I'm just me and you're just you. But the reality is, the alternative is what? To just do nothing and let their message go unchallenged, which is not okay, certainly in my book. There's been hundreds of comments on the Fox site with that article, and there's one statement here that I think is really telling. This woman wrote, "The older I get, the more I think we need to be able to look at more traditional models and not be intimidated by the PC crowd. Doing so does not mean anyone is sexist or behind the times." So I guess if I'm trying to do anything, it's to show, nothing about my life would seem backward, I don't think. Nothing about me would seem backwards or behind the times. I'm simply pointing out that there are some things that really don't change in life, and that is, for most people anyway, their desire to love and be loved and to have a family, and we want to embrace that, not walk away from it. So how are we going to do that while still embracing this quote unquote progress we've made? I mean, some things are progress, some things aren't. Like I said at the beginning, if you're running off the deep end and forgetting to get married and have kids, that's not really progress. That's just shifting one sort of problem for another.
Right.
So,
and you talk about also, Suzanne, not to interrupt, sorry, the I don't know if you phrased it this way, but the emasculation of men, but also you ask at the end, a fair question. Women are going to say, okay, where are all these men that you described, the breadwinners, the people who are willing to support a working woman and give her both, the best of both worlds, so to speak? Where are they all? And you say you agree there's not, it's hard to find them. And she said, I think you said at the end, ask yourself why, and you probably know the answer. And the answer is because they've been, tossed away and feminized by society and degraded by show after show. We've discussed Everyone Loves Raymond, you and I, where, every word out of the women's mouths on that show is how stupid Raymond is, or how stupid the husband is, and what an idiot he is. But so how are these men going to gain confidence that they should chase these women and pursue them in traditional fashion for traditional means when there's not a lot of indication that women want to be pursued that way anymore?
I don't think they will, quite frankly, and that's why I turn my attention to women, and I get a lot of trouble for it, because we're not supposed to blame women for anything. We're so used to blaming men, and it's absolutely perfectly PC to blame them all day long. Nobody blinks an eye. So I come along and I say, hey, let's turn this around and look at ourselves. What can we do differently? And I'm the devil. Well, the reality is nothing is going to happen if women don't start to realize that perhaps they have pushed men away by saying over and over, I don't need you. I can just do fine without you. And so therefore there's no incentive for men to want to marry. I mean, that men need to feel needed, like they're going to bring something to the table. And when you tell them they're not, they'll say, all right, I'll go down to the basement and, play my video games or whatever. So there is a way to bring them back, but I do believe that it stems from women's attitude and behavior. And so, to answer your question, I think the more that women speak up for the men in their lives and feel and then understand that when things aren't going their way, or when they can't balance the way they want to, don't turn to your husband or your dad or well, you wouldn't, I guess, turn to your dad or your son, I was going to say, but don't turn to the men in the world and say, what are you doing to me? The reality is, and as I said this on Fox, time is your enemy. Time, not men. Men are not a bunch of Neanderthals like they're made out to be. I'm 45 years old, and quite frankly, I haven't even known a Neanderthal. My own father was 85 years old when he died 5 years ago. He wasn't even a Neanderthal. So, where are all these horrid men who are holding women down? I just don't see it.
Well, it's part of the PR campaign that they've mounted over the years, and as you and I have discussed also, Christina Hoff Sommers with her book Who's Still Feminism, pointed out the lies and the deception, and once they put out a press release, some of these groups, the media would just eat them up and regurgitate them as if they were fact, and then it turned out, whether it was a March of Dimes study or that men beat their wives on Super Bowl Sunday more than any other day, these things were made up and were not true, and it's put out there. And as long as the media is willing to accept these things without researching them, the misconceptions will be continue to be put forth.
Which is actually why I'm so thankful. I actually just did a blog thanking Fox and Friends, because I think Fox did a really great job of framing my article and my argument very nicely. And there's not a lot of that. I mean, I usually get really quite the opposite, twisting my message any which way and saying things that obviously I didn't say or don't mean.
Sure. Well, I'd love to see you on MSNBC battling this out. Anyway,
someday.
Suzanne, thank you very much. Keep up the good work. I know you won't be intimidated, so I don't have to tell you.
Thank you.
All right, take care. That's Suzanne Vanker, founder of Women for Men. Ladies and gentlemen, check out Women for Men. As I said before, how dare she say Women for Men? There's all kinds of things out there now. There is a study in the Journal of Research, Volume 69. It's the December issue. It's called Sex Roles. Yeah. What issue? Sex Roles, a Journal of Research, and it's about men staring at women and their breasts. Okay. Like a guy checking out a woman who passes by, or a woman who's sitting on the subway seat next to him or across from him. They don't like that. These researchers have offered a definitive report into the science of the male objectifying gaze in the December volume of Sex Roles, a Journal of Research. Although objectification theory suggests that women frequently experience the objectifying gaze with many adverse consequences, there is scant research examining the nature and causes of the objectifying gaze for perceivers. The main purpose of this work was to examine the objectifying gaze towards women via eye-tracking technology. Oh, my God. Anyway, consistent with our main hypothesis, we found that participants focused on women's chests and waists more and faces less when they were appearance-focused versus personality-focused. Moreover, we found that this effect was particularly pronounced for women with high versus average and low ideal body shape. So what they're saying is men, when they see a hot woman who has a good body, will be more apt to look at that body. Gee, this is amazing stuff. You needed this. You needed a study. What, they get funded by the government? Or they get a couple of $1 million to do this? Holy mackerel. It is insane. It really is insane. So basically, they're according to a piece here at liberals want to stop men from checking out women. This is a piece that's at the Daily Caller. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a study here. I Googled this kind of stuff. And if you go back to 2011, okay, CBS News study. See, this is what I mean. The baloney. Now, I'm not saying this is baloney. I don't know enough about it. But the baloney, okay? Study. Male oogling hurts women's math scores. CBS News, January 27, 2011, by Stephanie Pappas. Getting the once-over from a man causes women to score lower on a math test, a new study finds. Are you kidding me? How do they even know they're getting the once-over from a man? And what if they did know it? That's going to cause them to do poorly on a math test? What can I tell you? But this is the media will eat this up. I'm not saying this is not. This should be discredited. I haven't read it, but my opinion of it so far. That's my opinion of it so far. But the media will report this. Can you imagine? Could you imagine if my son came home and said, "Dad, I did bad on my math test because a girl was looking at me"? That's a great excuse. Oh, my boy. All right, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen close. Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. Steve Malzberg with you. How many times have we heard from the left that Ronald Reagan wouldn't recognize this Republican Party? We even heard it from Bob Dole, unfortunately, that there'd be no place for Reagan in this party. Dole said he didn't recognize the Republican Party. But the fact of the matter is, as has been discussed also in this show, that it's JFK who wouldn't recognize the Democratic Party. And you don't have to go back that far to JFK to find those who wouldn't recognize the Democratic Party. It is not your father's Democratic Party. And in fact, according to our next guest, Michael Goodwin of the New York Post, he talks about how the party has no more centrists in it. And I couldn't agree more. Hello, Michael. Good to talk to you.
Hello, Steve. Thank you.
All right. So you talk about the fact that you heard a claim that the Democratic Party is at war, just like parts of the Republican Party might be described between the Tea Party and the establishment. And they were talking about the centrist Democrats battling the progressives. And you came to the conclusion, or you the exclamation, what centrist Democrats?
Yeah, they're the dodo birds of politics. They're extinct or darn close to it, and I go through a list of them to show that whether it's Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, they've all folded their tents. They're no longer talking about defense as defense hawks. They're very much in sync with this president. You have Joe Lieberman, who was a defense hawk, essentially thrown out of the party because he continued to turn on the Iraq invasion, which he had supported. You've got the election of Bill de Blasio in New York. You've got the ascendancy of Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. And, of course, leading it all is Barack Obama, who I argue is the most radical president in modern times. I mean, he is far, far, far more liberal than George McGovern would have been in the 70s.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. You're so right. I'm glad you brought up McGovern. And, you also allude in the piece to someone like Scoop Jackson. You mentioned Lieberman. And, of course, Moynihan. Yeah, you talk about him. I mean, these were true blue. No one ever doubted their Democrat credentials. But these were people who were for, to one sense or another, strong moral values. They were for strong defense. They were for, tax cuts to one extent or another, or at least they were more mainstream. The platform of the Democratic Party on a national level, and then you talk about de Blasio on a New York local level. My God, he is a Marxist. I mean, he went to foreign countries to support Marxism or Stalinism. I mean, this guy is as wacky as it gets. So, I mean, there's no way that they could claim that they are centrist or in the middle or even anything like the people we're talking about.
Right, and this idea that there's a battle, and the battle's over. The centrists have lost. They have no power in this party. And what's amazing, Steve, is that you look at President Obama, every time he gets in a fix, he doesn't try to build a bridge to draw in the center of the country. He pushes harder on the left. He always goes back to the base. I mean, last week, for example, he's in trouble over Obamacare. Where does he go? To Chris Matthews of MSNBC. That's hardly somebody who's going to build you a bridge to the other 60% of the country, but that's not his interest. His interest is in revving up the base and in keeping the base intact, and no desire to reach across to the rest of the country.
Right, and Michael, he alerted us to the fact that despite the fact that people can't get jobs and despite the Obamacare debacle, which goes beyond the website, from now on, the focal point of his presidency is going to be economic inequality and injustice. I mean, that came out of left field, literally.
But that is precisely what it's all about. That this is this has been the I think largely unspoken agenda. And what happens with him, it's very strange, because normally when somebody, as I say, a politician gets kind of trapped into a small corner, they try to enlarge the field. They try to build a bigger tent, bring more people into it, let more people relate. His is the opposite. His is always to kind of double down, triple down, stick on the same theme, push harder on those themes, make them more radical in the hopes of exciting those already on his side,
right,
or reminding them of why they should be on his side. Never expanding it.
No, why we should be divided and the other people are bad and we're good. We're talking to Michael Goodwin of the New York Post here on the Steve Malzberg Show. We got time for one more point you made, and I love it perhaps above everything else, and that is how Al Sharpton is the new MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. of today's Democrats and left.
Yes, I mean, it is astounding to me, but Al Sharpton has been in the White House constantly. He both tells the president what he thinks and then carries the president's message back to his radio and TV shows. I mean, he's doing the same thing with de Blasio. De Blasio is a Sharpton acolyte. So Sharpton has more power than Martin Luther King ever had. And this, to me, is mind-boggling.
Yeah, and you know why it's mind-boggling? I'm sorry, Michael. It's mind-boggling because it's not in spite of what he did and who he has been. It's because of what he's done and who he's been.
Well, look, that may be, but to me it is mind-boggling, because I think he is a totally divisive figure.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, again, if you're trying to reach across, unite the country, build a consensus. Look, I'm not suggesting President Obama or any candidate or any president of any party could get 100% support.
No, Michael, we're out of time, but your key word there was if you're trying, and I don't believe they are.
It's consensus.
Michael,
you're aiming for 60-65%.
Speak to you again, Michael. Thank you very much. Michael Goodwin, ladies and gentlemen, New York Post, Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints. Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints do not have to be a normal part of aging. Holistic doctor David Brownstein challenged conventional thinking to focus on natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the premium nutritional supplement specifically formulated to support healthy joints and connective tissue. It's a new joint breakthrough formula containing 11 hand-picked nutrients. Learn more at limbexjoint.com/special and take the 30-day Healthy Joint Challenge. That's a 30-day supply of the Limbex Joint Supplement. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Happy, Healthy Joints at Any Age. You can do something about joint discomfort and flexibility. Learn how you can try it for 30 days at limbexjoint.com/special. That's limbexjoint.com/special. limbexjoint.com/special.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Mourners, including 4 U.S. presidents, are headed to South Africa to mourn past President Nelson Mandela in that nation. A total of more than 50 heads of state, including President Barack Obama and past Presidents Clinton, George W. Bush, and Jimmy Carter, will attend Mandela's services this week. The ceremonies will stretch from Johannesburg to the capital of Pretoria to the ancestral village of Mandela's in the Eastern Cape province, where he will be buried. This is expected to be one of the largest global gatherings in recent history. Soldiers, the Air Force, National and City Police are all expected to be deployed to ensure security for the high profile and massive crowds expected.
We believe that probably 1 billion people will be watching how South Africa will perform.
Meanwhile, back in the U.S., Vice President Joe Biden will be taking over for President Obama in his duties in Washington. That includes playing host to Congress's annual holiday ball. And a stretch of bad weather in the Northeast has caused a lot of problems and some fatal accidents down in Texas. That weather has canceled more than 2,500 flights over the weekend. It also caused additional delays and cancellations on Monday throughout the country. Heavy snow piled up in Pennsylvania, slowing down drivers and sending cars off the roads there. More than 8 inches fell near Philadelphia, causing headaches for this motorist.
The storm just came out of nowhere. It just
hit us.
It just hit us, honestly.
And all of a sudden, just bam, hit us, and then I'm slipping and sliding.
Now, these storms are also to blame for a 10-car pileup that shut down parts of Interstate 10 in Texas for more than 24 hours over the weekend. That crash also claimed the lives of 2 people. And American Airlines and U.S. Air have completed their merger to make it the nation, or the world's largest airline, I should say. It is the latest in a series of mergers that will leave only 4 airlines controlling more than 80% of the U.S. market. For passengers, the merger won't mean any immediate changes, though everyone is holding their breath to see what impact this will have on ticket prices. And protesters in the Ukraine on Sunday, toppled a statue of Vladimir Putin. The protest comes over outrage over the Ukrainian government's push to find stronger ties with Russia. The statue was torn apart with hammers, leaving only pieces scattered on the ground. According to the Ukraine's government news agency, a lawmaker with the Nationalist Party there claimed responsibility for the incident, though multiple statues of Lenin, one of the leaders of the 1917 Russian Revolution, have been removed from Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine, in recent years. Now, when we come right back, a cop who fired his gun at a minivan with kids inside is now out of a job. See the reason why coming up. Plus, a Newsmax exclusive with Congressman Steve Scalise is next.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Constipation, gas, bloating, most people suffer through. But now there's a simple solution for occasional digestive problems called Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic formula that supports healthy digestive and immune health. And it comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. Bactipro contains 6 powerful strains of beneficial probiotic bacteria, dietary fiber, and bacteria-nourishing prebiotics, plus powerful antioxidants. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Bactipro.com/special. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Improve your digestive health now. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/special. That's BACTIPRO.com/special. Bactipro.com/special.
And that New Mexico State police officer who fired his weapon at a minivan full of children has now been fired. The shooting was caught on dash cam video. Officer Elias Montoya, who now the New Mexico police say is no longer employed with the force, is seen shooting his gun at a minivan during a traffic stop that went awry back in October. Montoya claimed that he needed to shoot. He was trying to shoot the tire rather to stop the vehicle. And Representative Steve Scalise of Louisiana is reluctant to say if he supports a new plan to increase government fees as opposed to raising taxes as a way to shrink the gap between the budget proposals coming from the Democrats and Senator Patty Murray and Republicans who have their own budget plan in the House coming from Paul Ryan.
Well, I haven't seen a final proposal. I'm optimistic that Paul can reach a deal with Patty Murray.
And that's going to do it for this edition of your Newsmax Now Update. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show, live from New York.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, we welcome you back. Hour number 2 of the Monday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. And joining us now, we welcome him back to the show, is J. Christian Adams, former Department of Justice attorney who blew the whistle on racial bias in the Justice Department. And you could read him at pjmedia.com. And he's got a great book, of course, out, which is Injustice, Exposing the Radical Agenda of the Obama Justice Department. Hello, sir. Good to talk to you again.
Great to be here.
Well, thank you very much. All right, your latest piece, or at least the December 4th piece, talks about the fact that Department of Homeland Security has been added hiring immigration attorneys, and just as the Justice Department and the Civil Rights Division hired a series of attorneys with nothing but a total ideological bent to the left, here we have seemingly nothing but pro-amnesty attorneys who have been hired by the Homeland Security.
Well, that's exactly right, Steve, and pay close attention because you got to give the Obama people credit. They know how to use power, and they have the power to affect the federal bureaucracy long after they're gone. And one of the ways they're doing it is by bringing in a swarm of radical left-wing open borders ideologues to work at the Department of Homeland Security. And you're right, at PJ Media we actually have their biographies. I got all their photographs. You can peruse the article. There's literally dozens and dozens of them who have worked at open borders groups like Latino Justice and the Mexican American Legal Defense Fund and Pearl Deaf and the ACLU Immigrant Rights Project. And all of these groups that exist to keep the borders open, they're now working at DHS.
And you point out that not only were they hired, but they were hired by unconventional means, correct?
That's right. A guy by the name of Steve Legomsky. Steve Legomsky was the chief counsel at DHS in this component, and he basically sat there with a pile of resumes, according to my sources, and just picked and chose who he wanted. He's now a professor at Washington University in St. Louis. He is a guy whose scholarship is marked by hostility toward enforcement of keeping foreigners out of the country. So, you know, personnel is policy, and this administration knows it.
Yeah, well, and you know, they are in your face. I mean, if we had a media that was willing to report on this kind of stuff, and fair media that was willing to report and dig into what you originally talked about when you blew the whistle, on the Justice Department, there would be outrage in this country. But unfortunately, more than half the population doesn't get to hear it because they're ill-informed, and that's because we don't have a media that's willing to talk about these things.
Well, that's exactly right. We plus, and if they do talk about it, they won't think there's anything wrong with it. You have people like Jennifer Lee, who worked at a group that actually was publishing a pamphlet for illegal aliens called, quote, What to Do in the Event of a Raid. I have a link to the pamphlet on the article at PJ Media. And now she's working at DHS. I mean, these were people whose lives were dedicated to getting people into this country, keeping them in this country, and now they're making all the decisions at DHS.
You know, Eric Holder recently lost an effort in court. Of course, he was the Congress voted to hold him in contempt, and then the judge ruled that he can't appeal it. They're still withholding Fast and Furious documents. We had the gentleman who wrote the book last week who blew the whistle on the Fast and Furious fiasco that was going on at ATF. And it just seems like nothing that the Congress does, nothing that people unveil or that gets out there from you or from other whistleblowers, nothing sticks. Nothing has any repercussions or changes much, unfortunately.
Well, Steve, I think there's a reason for that. And these Obamaites who are in power now, like I said, they know how to use power. And the opposition doesn't know how to stop power. They're unfamiliar with these tactics. The Republicans in Congress seem to be stuck in this like 1995 model where everybody can get along and we have reasoned discourse. Meanwhile, the Alinskyeites in the administration have the volume turned up to 11, if you've ever seen Spinal Tap. And so these guys are wringing out every last drop of power out of the government and embedding it and transforming it just like they promised they would do. And the folks in Congress, their chief weapon seems to be the strongly worded letter.
Yeah.
And, they don't use the tools the founders gave them, like the power of the purse, like impeachment of lesser officials. You don't just have to impeach Obama or Holder. Go after the lesser officials. That'll put a chill on the bad behavior.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But this is a Republican Party with no leadership whatsoever. We're talking to J. Christian Adams, former Department of Justice official, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Read him at PJ Media. And as mentioned, his book, Exposing Injustice, it's called Injustice, Exposing the racial agenda of the Obama Justice Department. You wrote a piece in your book. You wrote about Nelson Mandela. And you put part of that in a piece on PJ the other day. I'd like to get your thoughts on his passing.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting. There were some pretty strongly worded opinions at a lot of places about Mandela, and I had this to say. Look, I did a case in Mississippi, the first Voting Rights Act case, where a black majority was discriminating against a white minority. And part of it was coming out of this vengeance idea. They called it payback time down there. And what I said about Mandela was he had a choice. He could have taken the path of the folks in Zimbabwe and extracted racial vengeance on the whites in South Africa. Or, it wasn't a perfect transition, but he chose the alternative path of reconciliation, of not extracting racial vengeance. And for that, Mandela deserves a great deal of credit.
Do you believe that in his own way, Barack Obama, who Walter E. Williams, who was with us the other day, made some news on this show by saying that I asked him what Obama could learn from Mandela. He said nothing. He's incapable at this point. He's beyond learning, and he's not his own man, and he answers to George Soros. But let me ask you this: do you believe that Obama, in his own way, is getting retribution on a country that he views in so many respects, whether it's at the Justice Department or through economic policy, has been unfair or worse over these many decades or maybe centuries?
Well, that's exactly one of the things that my book is about. I documented how he turned the Justice Department into a mechanism for racial retribution, for redistribution of spoils along racial lines. I mean, that's what I document in the book, and that's what other people like Dinesh D'Souza and The Roots of Obama's Rage and other books have documented, that at his core, this guy is an Alinskyite community organizing guy who's dedicated to transforming America by putting people in their place that he thinks deserves to be in their place. And I think that after 6 years, it's pretty clear that that's what this president is about.
One more for you, sir. When you see, and it's been talked about and analyzed, but nothing gets done about it as everything else, when you see the abuse of power, I think Jonathan Turley called it dictatorial, imperial presidency that the president is building to or running at this point, changing the laws, enforcing the laws selectively, deciding what laws not to enforce. When you see all that, if the Republicans were to take the Senate in 2016, and if there were a real outcry in this country and a real message being sent, do you believe that the House should undertake impeachment proceedings, and maybe they would have a Senate that would be able to convict?
I think you go after the lesser officials who are in charge of these lawless policies. There's always deputy secretaries, assistant secretaries, assistant attorneys general who are managing this lawlessness, and they are subject to impeachment. If you want to make a difference, go after the lesser officials, because the administration won't spend political capital on them. If you start impeaching Holder and Obama, it's going to be a fight to the death, and you probably won't win that in the eyes of the American people. You have to keep it inside the Beltway. You have to go over after the lesser officials who are engaging in lawless
Give me
conduct.
one. You got a name offhand?
Tom Perez, when he was Assistant Attorney General of Justice. Go after Lois Lerner. Go after any political appointee who is subject to impeachment that's engaging in bad behavior. The administration will not defend them. You will win the fight. You will get a scalp.
Gotcha. J. Christian Adams. Thank you, sir. Look forward to talking to you again. Have a Merry Christmas.
Take care.
Take care. On the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming back. I want to play you some media reaction to the Mandela death. Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Do you have trouble remembering things you've known for years? Do you want to maintain your mental edge, support your memory, focus, and attention? After extensive research, Dr. Russell Blaylock discovered 4 essential nutrients that help sustain optimal brain function. Dr. Russell Blaylock then personally formulated Crescio, the dietary supplement containing these 4 brain boosters that promote brain cognitive health, improve learning and retention. Crescio supports brain circulation and provides antioxidant protection. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Crescio. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Crescio.com/special. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, Nature's Brain Boosters, Essential Nutrients for Peak Mental Performance. Give your brain the healthy support it needs. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Crescio.com/special. That's CRESCEO.com/special. Crescio.com/special.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
When he was released from prison, he was greeted by a jubilant crowd in Cape Town, black and white alike, and his plight inspired a young college student who would change history himself.
I am one of the countless millions who drew inspiration from Nelson Mandela's life. My very first political action, the first thing I ever did that involved an issue or a policy or politics, was a protest against apartheid. The day he was released from prison gave me a sense of what human beings can do when they're guided by their hopes and not by their fears.
All right, there he is, the next Nelson Mandela. Wouldn't you love it if it were true? But of course, it's furthest from the truth. As we just discussed with J. Christian Adams, as we discussed with, prior to that with Michael Goodwin, as we discussed last week with Walter E. Williams, the man can learn nothing from Nelson Mandela, has learned nothing from Nelson Mandela, and is incapable of learning anything from Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela chose not to separate, not to take retribution, not to divide. This is the great divider we have in the White House. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Part of me wants to go on with some reaction. Maybe it's more appropriate we save some of the reaction. Well, I could give you one more. Can I give you one more here? This is pretty interesting here. This is Cornel West. Cornel West on CNN talking about what's happening here in the media coverage of Nelson Mandela. And don't forget, Nelson Mandela was on a terrorist list here in the United States till 2008. It is what it is. The African National Congress or Council, whatever it was, the ANC, they were, considered a terrorist group. That's why Reagan decided he decided to veto the bill, the sanctions bill in South Africa, because at the beginning there was terrorism involved. Now, I want you to listen to Cornel West, and here's cut 11.
Are we covering up some of the realities of how individuals regarded both the ANC and more specifically Nelson Mandela in all these eulogies?
No, I think no doubt we are. I mean, Nelson Mandela, spiritual giant, moral titan, and political revolutionary. We are witnessing the Santa Clausification of Nelson Mandela. We turn the revolutionary into an old man, a huggable old man with toys in a bag, smile on his face, no threat to anybody, domesticated, tame, and no longer really full of the fire.
The Santa Clausification of Nelson Mandela. He said it. I didn't. Here's cut number 12 to follow up.
But we know at 95, Brother Nelson Mandela was still full of fire. He had that militant tenderness and subversive sweetness and radical gentleness tied to refusing to be fearful or intimidated in the face of a vicious white supremacist apartheid regime.
All right, so there you go. And that's just one of the interesting things that were said. And I got to play you one more. Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson talking about the death of Nelson Mandela and the life of Nelson Mandela, of course, tied it into voter ID laws in this country. Give a listen. Here's cut 19.
Those who engage in voter suppression are antithetical to the beliefs of Mr. Mandela, who believe it should have an open, free, fair process where you put the pictures on the ballot so you can see who you're voting for, and there'll be some relationship between who you're voting for and what you're voting for.
All right. We need pictures on the ballot. That aside. Now, according to the Breitbart story, that was on special report on the Fox News channel, by the way, and talking about voter suppression, and you got to overcome voter suppression. Unfortunately for Reverend Jackson, according to this story at Breitbart, which was written by Joe Pollack, who we had on the other day, Joe Pollack, South Africa, I want to get this straight here. South Africa's Electoral Commission notes in its creed here that, quote, you can vote in national and provincial elections as long as you have your valid green bar-coded ID and you are registered to vote. The ID includes a photograph. Jesse Jackson misinformed about voting procedures in South Africa and using it to his misinformation to exploit voter ID laws here in this country? I'm shocked. Oh, boy. Anyway, so they got voter ID in South Africa. It was good enough for Nelson Mandela. Not good enough for us. We're racist if we want to put voter ID in. Now, let me tell you something. My son went to the doctor for his yearly checkup a few weeks ago, right before Thanksgiving. Grew 4 inches and 19 pounds in a year. But that's not why I'm telling you this story, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you it because I love his doctor. We've been going to him since Rob was a baby, and I trust his doctor. However, his doctor knows how I feel about certain injections. And they gave him a pamphlet. I wasn't there. His mom was with him. And suggested that might be a good thing for him for many different reasons if he got the HPV vaccine, the human papilloma virus vaccine that causes cervical cancer in girls, in women. And I said, I came home, I took the pamphlet, I ripped it up. I said, not over anybody, not over my dead body are you getting this shot. If I got to go to jail, you're not getting this shot. Now, Governor Perry in Texas was the first to institute to make it mandatory. There have been horror stories. And now you got Katie Couric causing a stir with the liberals because Katie Couric on last Tuesday with a blog post from a science writer who had spoken extensively with the Katie producer who assured him the segment would not be alarmist. Anyway, Katie Couric presented a couple of horror stories about girls who have taken this vaccine, and they didn't apologize. While many appreciated us raising the topic, others were critical of us for providing what they felt was a disproportionate amount of time to two families who faced the rare circumstance of seeing their children's health deteriorate after receiving Gardasil. That's the name of the drug they shot. The health problems may or may not be linked to the vaccine. For those of you who watch the show, you know we presented the facts supporting the potential of the vaccine and that Katie's own daughters received the vaccine. This is an important personal decision to be made in consultation with your doctor, blah, blah, blah. So the left doesn't want anybody to talk about the real adverse effects possible from the vaccine. Just give it to your kid and hope. My kid will not take this vaccine, and if Governor Christie ever makes it mandatory, they could put me in jail or we'll move. I haven't decided yet. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Mary sits all day at a desk, which does little to relieve gas and bloating. You can't schedule abdominal discomfort, but you can help alleviate it with Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. It includes the most essential ingredients necessary to help support your healthy digestive and immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just visit Bactipro.com/offer. All you cover is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Do something about your digestive health now. Get your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/offer. That's BACTIPRO.com/offer. Limited time only. Bactipro.com/offer.
Meet John and Nancy. Like many people, John and Nancy have spent their whole lives working hard, saving their money and investing wisely, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But the reality is, today's world is not the same as it was. John and Nancy's stocks have taken them on a serious roller coaster ride, and it's all but destroyed their retirement funds. Their house is not even close to being worth what they paid, and to boot, their middle-class paychecks no longer cover their costs. All that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. In fact, they are no longer thinking about when they will retire, they're wondering if they'll retire. Then one day, John and Nancy heard about a man named Tom Hutchison, a veteran of Wall Street for over 2 decades. Tom noticed that the wealthy invested differently than normal people, and their methods seemed to be a secret they didn't want to share. So Tom left his job, compiled the strategies, and published them in the controversial book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. John and Nancy immediately picked up a copy, began investing, and never looked back. Thanks to Powerful Secrets, John and Nancy now have investments that pay up to 20% a year. They learned about unique tax-advantaged investments, and their favorite chapter revealed a strategy that anyone can use to turn $50,000 into $1 million. Now, John and Nancy have control of their financial future in this new reality, and they have peace of mind about their investments that they never had before. Best of all, they are back on track to a secure retirement. To get your free copy of the book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns, simply visit www.myfinancialage.org.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And we are back, and we are joined right now by our good friend, Susan Ferricchio, Chief Congressional Correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
It's always my pleasure. Hope you're well. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the week ahead, as you wrote at the Examiner, and this is the last work week of the year. Gee, if only it were the last work week of the year for us all. I mean, I pity these poor guys and ladies. And they're looking, we're getting closer anyway to that the deadline on the budget and on the debt ceiling and all that. Where are we? How close are we to possibly getting some kind of budget deal passed? Is that beyond the realm of possibility?
Yes, I think it'll be a smaller deal that only gives us a number for next year and perhaps the year after. But its main accomplishment will be to restore. This may not appeal to conservatives out there, but would be to restore the cuts that came under the sequester. Some of them would be replaced and split between military and domestic priorities, and that would be paid for in the course of this deal through an increase in government fees, which are taxes, but they like to call them fees so that they don't think you're raising your taxes. So that's how they're going to accomplish it. They're going to sneak these fees into various things that people pay for every day, like airline tickets or when you buy a mortgage, or maybe more money and go be contributed into your pension. This way they can avoid the overall tax increase, which is so politically damaging.
But Susan, so I'm kind of dumbfounded sitting here. So what's the purpose of the Republicans, hiding tax increases and doing away with sequester? What are they gaining out of this? And isn't it going to tick off, the base?
Yes, it is. But what they're gaining out of it is money for the military. They don't like there's a huge contingency of Republicans who felt that these sequester cuts were far too damaging to the military. Now, if they had their druthers, they just simply cut more out of the domestic budget and move into the military. But, you can't do that. You have to cut a deal with Democrats. So how do you do it? you create an alliance with some very liberal members who want to put more money into domestic spending, and then you agree, hey, I'll let you have your military spending, you let me have my domestic spending, and we find a way to pay for it that's palatable to both sides. Now, let's look at what the palatable means. You know that Democrats are already saying no way to entitlement cuts right now. The deal is in too short of a time frame for them to get that hammered out. And then the other thing, Republicans are like, we're not raising taxes, forget it. And both sides feel they have some bit of leverage. They're both down in the polls. Everybody's been dinged one way or another. So neither side has the appetite to push this to the limit and create a scenario where January comes and we don't have a budget deal and we face this government shutdown again. So that's the ingredients for a deal on Capitol Hill. So they have their ingredients, and now at this moment, we haven't seen the deal specifically, but supposedly it involves, picking away at the edges of other programs, raising fees here and there, and somehow coming up with $65 billion to raise spending above the $1 trillion mark. They probably won't get a lot of conservative Republicans on board for this, but you don't need them. You can pass it with Democrats and Republicans in the House and Senate, and voila, there's your budget deal.
And are they doing this? Will the Republicans who vote for this feel that they're insulated because the focus is now on Obamacare and that's what everybody's going to be running on, and no one's going to make a big deal of this anyway? Or
well, they run away. It's not so much that they're running toward this deal; they're running away from the idea of a government shutdown. They have to do something. And now Republicans got stung pretty bad the last time, if you recall, on the government shutdown. They always get blamed no matter what they do, no matter whose fault it is. Everyone blames the Republicans, even though it's probably both parties' fault. So they want to avoid that. And then the Republicans can finally claim they've helped restore money to our nation's military. And let's face it, cutting spending is not popular with constituents anyway. And so I think it's more palatable for them to have this deal work out where they can say, we didn't restore all of the sequesters still in place in part, but we restored some of the funding to things that we thought were vitally important, because some of the sequester cuts, as they call, is taking a hatchet to the budget that fixes it in their minds, and it does not raise taxes, and it doesn't cut your Medicare or your Social Security. So
right.
They feel like, well, they're considering a gulf between the two parties right now. Reaching any deal you will hear people celebrating this. However, you will not hear conservatives celebrate this. You will hear them say it's a sellout. Republicans committed the ultimate sin here by stuffing money back in that was cut from the sequester and then using these governmental fees, which are taxes, to do it. So it's not going to be popular with really conservative members. In fact, I think Heritage will key vote this, I think. I don't think they like it. Heritage which is a very conservative.
Well, I don't like it. I mean, I was a little taken aback. So we're talking to Susan Ferrecchio, chief congressional correspondent at the Washington Examiner, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me ask you about the extension of unemployment benefits. Where does that stand? Because Nancy Pelosi said there'd be no deal, although I don't know if she was talking about a budget deal or just any kind of agreement overall without that extension.
That's right. They've softened on that, and as one conservative just pointed out.
Who has softened on it? The Republicans
the
or
Democrats have,
oh.
because they're getting so many goodies out of the budget deal. They don't want to jeopardize it over unemployment insurance. So though they're willing to forego insisting that be included in the deal, which is dangerous. It could mean we don't get a deal on that before we leave. But they want it in another bill. But they are willing. I've heard various Democratic leaders say, we're not going to make this a make-or-break thing in the budget deal. We'll still go along if extension of unemployment benefits is not included. So, and that a conservative just pointed out to me is because they're getting a lot of good things out of the rest of this budget deal. So I think we ought to be taking a close look at that budget deal. If Democrats love it, then you probably can bet conservatives won't.
Yeah, I would assume that's the case. All right, let's talk about the Senate. The 2014 National Defense Authorization Act, which, of course, sets a policy for the Pentagon. Where is that? There are amendments that senators have been unable to agree on, including one on Iranian sanctions. So where are we going to go with that one?
Nowhere. That's a good question. As we speak, there is a move right now to move a bill forward that excludes the controversial elements so they can just get the thing done. So I don't think, you just heard the Iranian prime minister say, we're not going to negotiate if there's a threat over our heads. So the ingredients are all there for defense authorization to go forward in a really uncomplicated way. It would shed all of these components that have been holding it up. Remember the sexual assault provision by Kristen Gillibrand of New York?
Right.
I don't think that's going anywhere. So it looks like what they've done is just they want to just get it finished by the time both parties leave. This could be like the big, for them, an amazing moment of agreement that they just say, let's just move it and let's not have all of these complicating amendments in there. So I think at this point, I don't know. I don't think you're necessarily going to see that Iran sanction stuff in there. But that's what they're talking about right now. They're talking about Buck McKeon, who's the chairman of House Armed Services, is talking to reporters right now about it while we're here. So it's gonna move quickly this week. That's their plan.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, all right. Now let's go ahead. Of course, judges are going to be voted in with 51 votes, and that includes Patricia Millett. She'll be put on the D.C. Circuit Court. But what about the NLRB, so-called recess appointments, which court after court has said were unconstitutional? That's going to the Supreme Court, is it not?
Right, but it doesn't matter now because they can just the Senate can just vote those through. They changed rules now so that all these appointees only need a majority vote. So that's right. They can challenge the recess appointment, but the Senate can just push those back through again, and then they can have their nominee. In fact, they're gonna move the other circuit court nominees, and they're going to have the court stacked with a majority of Democrats on that very powerful court for the very first time since 1986. And that is a huge, huge deal for the court. As you know, it's the second highest court in the land, and it is going to have a Democratic majority. So they're going to be deciding cases that are extremely important, having to do with health care reform, the environment, all kinds of things. So the filibuster rule change that led to us, where we're confirming these judges is a really big deal.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm a little confused because I see that Mitch McConnell is taking the opposition to this to the Supreme Court, and that the Supreme Court has granted a 15-minute oral argument to the Republican leader and his colleagues, and that'll be heard on I think on January 13th. But Miguel Estrada, ironically enough, might lead that argument. But I thought that Congress people had no standing in front of the court. I'm so confused. That's why a congressperson can't go and sue the president or try to stop the president through the courts by saying he's abusing his power by selectively enforcing laws and changing, established law. I thought Republicans I thought congressional members don't have standing. So how is McConnell and Estrada representing the Republicans or in the Senate? How are they going to have standing? I don't get it.
Well, they can file if they have an amicus that they filed, which is going to on behalf, then they are allowed. I believe Supreme Court does allow people who are amicus filers.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I read that they were filing an amicus brief in favor of that, and I believe that's how they're going to go about doing it. And it's interesting how all this stuff is going to play out. But I think the most important thing that's happening, even beyond the Supreme Court, is really this rules change because Congress can now just push these nominees through, really eliminate.
Oh yeah.
The controversy.
And the death panel bills too. The death panel appointees as well.
Yeah, all executive branch appointees and judicial appointees. Now they say that this does not apply to Supreme Court, but that's the Democratic interpretation of this. The Republicans feel like, this will apply to.
This is just unbelievable. If the Republicans are smart, they use this as another cornerstone of their battle, in 014 and against Hillary, or whoever the Democratic nominee is, because this is just a power grab it's leading people like Jonathan Turley to say that Obama is running an imperial presidency and that he's become what the founding fathers feared. I mean, that's strong stuff.
I think what the Democrats are counting on, my calculation is that again, that they might risk losing the Senate next year. We've all looked at the rankings. It looks like there's a chance the Republicans could split the Senate. So Democrats wouldn't have an opportunity to move forward any nominees after 2014 potentially. However, I think they feel pretty confident that they can maintain the White House, which means even if Republicans are in control, if the White House remains under the control of the Democrats, they don't have to worry about the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
Not as much.
Right, not as much, yeah. All right, you know what? It's getting crazier and crazier. I thank you as always. We'll speak to you soon, so I won't wish you Merry Christmas yet. We'll speak to you before then.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan. Susan Ferrecchio, Chief Congressional Correspondent for the Washington Examiner, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, our friend Banafsheh Zand will join us, Iranian-born writer and film producer, to talk about Iran and what's going on there and the duplicative nature of their promises and agreements and what we can expect from them going forward. All that straight ahead right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You know it, you love it. If you want to weigh in, by the way, 877 Newsmax, you could still do that. And right here on the Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? 2 or more payday loan cash advances. Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is our friend Benefshe Zand, Iranian-born writer, film producer, and human rights activist. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you.
I wanted you to talk a little bit about what's going on in Iran as they, they're not even putting a phony face out. I mean, since they've signed that agreement, they've, threatened Israel. They've called them pigs and monkeys and the business as usual, really, saying that they're going to continue to enrich uranium. The centrifuges will never stop. So my whole premise here that they're putting on a face while they're nefariously plotting to go ahead with their program. They're telling us they're going to go ahead with their program, correct?
Well, I mean, look, the thing is that they have always said that. It's not news. If the Obama administration and Mr. Kerry want to sandbag that reality, well, there's nothing that we can do to stop them, obviously. But the bottom line is, as I've said before, betters than Obama have tried for 35 years, starting with Carter himself, then Reagan, who sent Khomeini a cake and a Quran, and they put the Quran aside and fed the cake to the dog. Bush 41 a little bit, then Clinton a lot with Warren Christopher, who ended up basically, giving these guys or putting the moniker of the evil empire on them, and Madeleine Albright then did all kinds of, loosening of various sanctions, opening pistachio, caviar, carpet, and so on and so forth. Bush 43 then tried with the insistence of the Euro Troika, which was at that point Jack Straw, Dominique de Villepin, and Joschko Fischer, and that didn't come out at all well. And at that time, the guy who's president now, Hassan Rouhani, was the actual nuclear negotiator under the Khatami presidency. And he, in fact, and I outed this information in April of 2006, where he was sitting in one of the assemblies of the clerics and was showing off about how he had the Euro Troika coming and going, and that that the whole idea had been to basically play Europe against the United States and make a fool out of Bush.
But you know what? But I think the difference is, not to interrupt you, but to interrupt you, is that this president is willing to accept so much less that it doesn't matter to him what they say, what they do, what they offer, what they intend to keep, what they intend to do. He just wants a piece of signed paper, I believe.
Yeah, but look, here's on my side of the story. I think the thing that I'm really hoping for is that the midterm elections will turn it around in a way so that we could keep Mr. Obama busy on various other domestic issues that he needs to be concerned about where maintaining his presidency is concerned. I'm not going to use the I word. But
I knew you were talking about that, yeah. I knew you were talking about that.
The thing is that, he's just kicking the can down the road, and they will make a fool out of him whether he wants to believe it or not. And the worst part about it is that it's unfortunate that the CIA is so adamant in being in applying and juxtaposing non sequitur theories and solutions to the symptoms. They never even they're not even able to resolve the symptoms, let alone the cause. And the cause is really where you got to go. I mean, so if you're going to talk about nukes, then you really have to talk about what's behind the nukes, which is human rights violations.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let me get to that. I want to talk about something that you sent in an email yesterday, and to explain to me, we only have a couple of minutes left, but explain to me why the Iranian regime takes to Facebook and threatens the life of a Brazilian model who does a commercial for a soccer federation, FIFA's lottery. I don't get that.
Well, I mean, they do that as a matter of course to all beautiful women who are, who don't cover themselves up and wrap themselves up like mummies. But yet it's not only directed to her. As you recall, in my email, I also mentioned the fact that, for example, after the 5+1 Geneva meeting, the regime got their thugs lined up to make the exact same series of threats and attacks to the Facebook page of Laurent Fabius, the French
foreign minister. Yeah.
So it's just a perfect example of their thuggery, and it's when it comes to women especially, it's worse.
Yeah, no, absolutely, without a doubt. Look, well, next time we'll do it a little bit longer because it's such an important topic, and you're such a wonderful source of information and a unique perspective. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Delighted.
All right.
Thank
you very much.
Bye.
My pleasure. That's been Efshay Zand, Iranian-born writer, film producer, human rights activist, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. What am I saying here? Obamacare could force thousands of volunteer fire departments to close. Thank you, Dr. Obama. It just gets better. Let me see if I have time here to click on the story. Probably. Well, I did click on it. I didn't tell you I needed to open it. Yeah. All right. This is from the London Daily Mail. Affordable Care Act companies with more than 50 workers have to buy insurance. Have to buy them insurance. The IRS says volunteer firefighters are employees, even though the Department of Labor says they're volunteers. So who's going to put out the fires, for instance, in my town where they're all volunteers? Thank you, Dr. Obama. That's more great news. Oh, yeah, and the hits just keep on coming. When we come back, Congressman Mo Brooks from Alabama, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan... Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out, because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints do not have to be a normal part of aging. Holistic doctor David Brownstein challenged conventional thinking to focus on natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the premium nutritional supplement specifically formulated to support healthy joints and connective tissue. It's a new joint breakthrough formula containing 11 hand-picked nutrients. Learn more at limbexjoint.com/special and take the 30-day Healthy Joint Challenge. That's a 30-day supply of the Limbex Joint Supplement. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Happy, Healthy Joints at Any Age. You can do something about joint discomfort and flexibility. Learn how you can try it for 30 days at limbexjoint.com/special. That's limbexjoint.com/special. limbexjoint.com/special.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Mourners, including 4 U.S. presidents, are headed to South Africa to mourn past President Nelson Mandela in that nation. A total of more than 50 heads of state, including President Barack Obama and past Presidents Clinton, George W. Bush, and Jimmy Carter, will attend Mandela's services this week. The ceremonies will stretch from Johannesburg to the capital of Pretoria to the ancestral village of Mandela's in the Eastern Cape province, where he will be buried. This is expected to be one of the largest global gatherings in recent history. Soldiers, the Air Force, National and City Police are all expected to be deployed to ensure security for the high profile and massive crowds expected.
We believe that probably 1 billion people will be watching how South Africa will perform.
Meanwhile, back in the U.S., Vice President Joe Biden will be taking over for President Obama in his duties in Washington. That includes playing host to Congress's annual holiday ball. And a stretch of bad weather in the Northeast has caused a lot of problems and some fatal accidents down in Texas. That weather has canceled more than 2,500 flights over the weekend. It also caused additional delays and cancellations on Monday throughout the country. Heavy snow piled up in Pennsylvania, slowing down drivers and sending cars off the roads there. More than 8 inches fell near Philadelphia, causing headaches for this motorist.
The storm just came out of nowhere. It just hit us, honestly.
And all of a sudden, just bam, hit us, and then I'm slipping and sliding.
Now, these storms are also to blame for a 10-car pileup that shut down parts of Interstate 10 in Texas for more than 24 hours over the weekend. That crash also claimed the lives of 2 people. And American Airlines and U.S. Air have completed their merger to make it the nation, or the world's largest airline, I should say. It is the latest in a series of mergers that will leave only 4 airlines controlling more than 80% of the U.S. market. For passengers, the merger won't mean any immediate changes, though everyone is holding their breath to see what impact this will have on ticket prices. And protesters in the Ukraine on Sunday, toppled a statue of Vladimir Putin. The protest comes over outrage over the Ukrainian government's push to find stronger ties with Russia. The statue was torn apart with hammers, leaving only pieces scattered on the ground. According to the Ukraine's government news agency, a lawmaker with the Nationalist Party there claimed responsibility for the incident, though multiple statues of Lenin, one of the leaders of the 1917 Russian Revolution, have been removed from Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine, in recent years. Now, when we come right back, a cop who fired his gun at a minivan with kids inside is now out of a job. See the reason why coming up. Plus, a Newsmax exclusive with Congressman Steve Scalise is next.
Constipation, gas, bloating. Most people suffer through. But now there's a simple solution for occasional digestive problems called Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic formula that supports healthy digestive and immune health. And it comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. Bactipro contains 6 powerful strains of beneficial probiotic bacteria, dietary fiber, and bacteria-nourishing prebiotics, plus powerful antioxidants. Now you you can receive a 30-day supply of Back2Pro. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit backtopro.com/special. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Improve your digestive health now. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at backtopro.com/special. That's BACTIPRO.com/special. Backtopro.com/special.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
And that New Mexico State police officer who fired his weapon at a minivan full of children has now been fired. The shooting was caught on dash cam video. Officer Elias Montoya, who now the New Mexico police say is no longer employed with the force, is seen shooting his gun at a minivan during a traffic stop that went awry back in October. Montoya claimed that he needed to shoot. He was trying to shoot the tire rather to stop the vehicle. And Representative Steve Scalise of Louisiana is reluctant to say if he supports a new plan to increase government fees as opposed to raising taxes as a way to shrink the gap between the budget proposals coming from the Democrats and Senator Patty Murray and Republicans who have their own budget plan in the House coming from Paul Ryan.
Well, I haven't seen a final proposal. I'm optimistic that Paul can reach a deal with Patty Murray.
And that's going to do it for this edition of your Newsmax Now Update. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show, live from New York.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, the debacle that is Obamacare never ceases to become a bigger debacle. And welcome back. Joining us right now is Congressman Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama. Hello, Congressman.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Before we get started on what you want to talk about with regard to Obamacare, and there's probably nothing more important, and that's security concerns, which I think there's been enough evidence presented in testimony and from hackers that the site is not safe. But now leading the Drudge Report site, it says that since the Obamacare law doesn't carve out any exemption for volunteer firefighters, the IRS under the healthcare law looks at the volunteer firefighters as employees. So if there's 50 or more of them, they have to be provided health care unless the government provides an exemption specifically for firefighters. Many in Congress, I don't know if you've heard about this, are urging the administration to yet again selectively change, and enforce the law and carve out an exemption for these people. Otherwise, towns might have to lose their volunteer fire departments.
Just another adverse effect of a very improperly and poorly planned law.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, let's focus on the security now. I mean, you're telling your constituents what exactly about going on or not going on the Obamacare website?
Well, there are serious security risk associated with healthcare.gov and some of the ancillary Obamacare program websites, such that I encourage American citizens to not go onto any of those websites until such time as they are secure and they have been fixed. We've had plenty of testimony before Congress talking about how ineptly done the security part of the website was, and we're starting to see examples of how hackers are able to penetrate healthcare.gov or various exchanges. And if you give those websites your personal data, particularly data relating to credit cards, debit cards, you're at risk of those things being stolen, which in turn means you're at risk of being financially injured by cybersecurity thieves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we heard from first it started with Kathleen Sebelius, if I'm not mistaken, who admitted that, yeah, convicted felons might get a hold of your information, might even be taking the information of the subscribers who were signing up because there was no background checks done on these people. And then from there, I remember there were 4 security experts in Congress. I remember CBS Evening News on my ride home played a soundbite where they asked them, just say yes or no. Is the site secure? And you got 4. No, 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 no. And then, yeah, they had hackers testifying saying, this is easy. So the fact that this isn't, trumping almost everything else, and that the media isn't sounding the alarm for the people of this country, saying, "Wait a minute, don't go on this website." I guess I should be surprised the media is not doing it, but I'm not. But this is a real outrage.
Well, it's going to get worse. One of the reasons that there hasn't been more publicity about it so far is that the website has been so poorly designed and operated that there aren't very many people who have actually gone all the way from A to Z. And right now, what I mean by A to Z, I'm talking about where you actually have insurance and you're paid for it. That's where you pull out your credit card and you pay for it. Once the website is fixed enough to where you can go all the way from the beginning part of entering your initial data to the end part where you buy the insurance that you've decided, that's when you're talking about the mother lode for cybersecurity thieves. And that's when you're going to hear more about it. I'll give you an example. The D.C. Exchange, all congressmen and senators and congressional staffers, they are required by Obamacare to purchase insurance through the D.C. Exchange. If they're going to have insurance, that's where they're supposed to get it, okay? Well, in the past week, we have discovered that there is a phishing scam that has been implemented through the D.C. Exchange. So if you go to the D.C. Exchange website, and you happen to pick on the wrong icon on that website to take you to a subpart of that website, all of a sudden you might go to an entirely different screen than was intended, one that's operated by cyber thieves, and they're trying to get our credit card information, our debit card information. And this is the D.C. Exchange website that you would think would be one of the most secure, because after all, it's the one that congressmen, senators, and Capitol Hill staffers use, which in turn means it's the one that the White House would want to operate the best, because once these elected officials and staffers start getting personal treatment with how bad Obamacare is, they're the ones who can repeal it.
Congressman, you couldn't make this up, could you?
Well, it would be difficult to. Maybe you or I couldn't, but the president could, because he did.
It is really incredible. I want you to hear one thing, and we're talking right now, ladies and gentlemen, to Congressman Mo Brooks, Republican, Alabama, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I want you to hear a soundbite from this Sunday's Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace. Ezekiel Emanuel was on, and Chris Matthews asked him, said, hey, the president wasn't telling the truth either when he said, if you like your doctor, you could keep your doctor, was he? And here's cut 21.
The president never said you were going to have unlimited choice of any doctor in the country you want to go.
Wait, no. He asked a question. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Did he not say that, sir?
He didn't say you can have unlimited choice.
It's a simple yes or no question. Did he say if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor?
Yes.
And then he went on to say, but you'd have to pay more for it. You could keep your doctor now if you want to pay more for it. I mean, this, they look at you and they tell you that the sky is green and the grass is blue, and if you don't agree with them, and this is on every issue, there's something wrong with you.
Well, I hope the American people are starting to figure out that the only reason we have the individuals in the White House is because he's been very, very good at deceiving the American people into thinking one thing when he actually means another. Obamacare is a good example. There was obvious deceit that was used to create the public support to get it passed back in 2009 and 2010. There was deceit again going into the election where the mantra was, if you want to keep your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan, period. If you want to keep your doctor, you can keep your health care doctor, period. And to boot, it's going to cost you less. Remember the pledge? That
Oh, yeah. I think $2,500 per ride, a family, absolutely.
Okay. This guy is the deceiver in chief. I don't know of a more accurate way to describe it. It's very disappointing. It's very frustrating. We've got Democrats on Capitol Hill who are going to defend Obamacare no matter how bad it is. And the American people who are having to choose between one person saying A and another person saying B and not doing the homework to figure out who's telling the truth, well, the Democrats are able to buttress themselves for the November 2014 elections because so many of their close allies are unwilling to look at whether those Democrat candidates are actually telling the truth to the American people. But it should be quite clear that this is one of the biggest con games, one of the biggest instances of deception that has ever emanated from the White House and from the United States Congress on the American people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Very quickly, sir, not to throw you a curve, are you guys going to come to an agreement, all of you, on some kind of a budget deal or a smaller deal?
Well, the Democrats are trying to set the stage again for another government shutdown. Hopefully the Republicans this time will be a little bit smarter and not fall into the trap. But the Democrats right now, they crave something that will distract public attention from the calamity known as Obamacare. And it's going to get worse, okay? You're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. People who think that the rollout was bad, wait until you start seeing the employers canceling millions millions of insurance
2014 is going to be a disaster. Yep.
It's going to be a disaster. And so the Democrats, they need a shutdown. They need something dramatic, perhaps a war, something that will deflect public attention from how bad this socialized medicine system is, this scheme that they've put forth. And so we may not come to an agreement, but if we don't, it will be because the Democrats refuse to abide by the spending limits of the Budget Control Act that the president originated and that the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, Democrat, supported and lobbied for, along with the congressional Democrats.
Right.
And it was a bipartisan bill.
Congressman,
if the Democrats will adhere to that, then we will not have a government shutdown. But if they don't, then we might.
Congressman, thank you very much. I hope you'll come back. Thank you. Congressman Mo Brooks.
My pleasure.
Steve Malzberg Show. We are coming back.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Mary sits all day at a desk, which does little to relieve gas and bloating. You can't schedule abdominal discomfort, but you can help alleviate it with Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. It includes the most essential ingredients necessary to help support your healthy digestive and immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just visit Bactipro.com/offer. All you cover is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Do something about your digestive health now. Get your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/offer. That's BACTIPRO.com/offer. Limited time only. Bactipro.com/offer.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, I'm very happy to say we'll be joined by Ken Blackwell, former Ohio Secretary of State and a senior fellow at the Family Research Council. And then my friend Jared Max, former ESPN radio talk show host. He will join us. We'll talk about you got 3 managers going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. They were elected today, and we'll talk about that. Tony La Russa, Joe Torre, and Bobby Cox. And also we have this huge contract for Robinson Cano with the Seattle Mariners, of all people. So we'll talk a little baseball, and I'm sure we'll slide in a little football. Are you ready for some football? I love saying that. I know it sounds terrible, but I love saying it. Crazy football games yesterday, man. And I love watching them in the snow. And if you saw, there were some news reports, they ran monitors of four different games, and they were all being played in inclement weather, or clement weather, depending on where you are. And that's how football should be played. Now, I'm not going to go to MetLife Stadium, which is not far from here, and watch the Super Bowl this year because I hate the cold. I don't want to sit out there, get there at 5 o'clock and then leave there at 10 o'clock and come home frozen and have to get rid of my frostbite. To me, that's not fun. But I hope it snows. I hope it's freezing. I hope they play football like they used to play football, like football's supposed to be played. This will be the only Super Bowl that will be played in a winter venue outdoors. The others have all been played, in warm weather climate, whether it be San Francisco, Palo Alto, Los Angeles, Pasadena, Tampa, Miami. I've been to them all, ladies and gentlemen. I think I've been to 12 Super Bowls. Anyway, I'm not going to. And then when it's in a cold weather venue, it's indoors. I'm not going to. My son keeps saying, can't we go? Can't we go? I have no desire to sit out there and freeze my butt off. And when push comes to shove, yeah, it's the Super Bowl, but it's probably 2 teams that neither one is going to be a New York team or a team. Well, my son's a Patriots fan. Talk about games. How Brady led the Patriots back yesterday is insane, just insane against Cleveland, at Cleveland. And then Cleveland had a chance to win it on a last-second field goal and missed. I mean, the games yesterday, Minnesota and who was the other team? The Ravens? They scored 5 touchdowns between them in the last 2.5 minutes? Man, it was something magical about football yesterday. Anyway, I'm not talking about that. What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. So we'll talk about that with Jared Max, although we won't have time to talk about all of it. Anyway, here's a revelation for you, and this is a piece written by Peter Schweitzer at Politico.com, and we hope to have Peter on tomorrow. We were going to have him today, but scheduling got in the way. A new Government Accountability Institute, GAI, analysis finds that from July 12th, 2010, to November 30th, 2013, which was 9 days ago, the president's public schedule records 0 one-on-one meetings between himself and Kathleen Sebelius. Let me repeat that. For over 3 years. 3 years. Barack Obama and Kathleen Sebelius, as of November 30th, met 0 times one-on-one. 0. That means never. Now, there was one meeting prior to that. So since the passage of Obamacare, I believe they met once. This is a president who was disengaged. He's self-admitted lazy. He's self-admitted sloppy, unorganized. You got to give me a piece of paper right before I need it, otherwise I lose it. This is a man who's never run a business, never run anything, and he looks and acts bored to tears. The only thing that interests him, in my opinion, is imposing his will on you and me and the rest of the country. He was in charge for this horrific Obamacare rollout. But Obamacare itself is worse than the rollout, folks. Much worse than the rollout. How do you, just for the sake, I don't care if you're going to play cards with her. Now, here's another thing. July 12th, 2010 to November 30th of this year also happens to include 2 months of the disaster of the rollout. And even if you told me that for those 2 months, he never called her to the White House, never had her to the White House and sat down and talked with her one-on-one, I'd say, wow, really? You mean from the October 1st when this debacle started till November 30th? And it might still be going on today, but we only know to November 30th. He didn't even meet with her once? But he didn't even meet with her for 3, well, let's figure it out. August, September, October, almost 3 1/3 years. 3 years, 4 months. My God, that's dereliction of duty. My God, that's incompetence. Is it not? Could you imagine if this was George Bush and he had played golf as many times as Obama has played golf in the 3 years? Oh, man. They'd be drawing up the impeachment papers, ladies and gentlemen. We will talk to Ken Blackwell about all of these goodies, all of these tidbits. It's really a shame. It's a national disgrace. It's a national disgrace. His own Health and Human Services secretary. He had no use to meet with her on his schedule for 3 years and 4 months, and it's probably continuing to right now. Again, like I said to the congressman before in the previous segment, you can't make this up. Because if you made it up, or if you said it, they'd call you a liar. Yep. The wrong guy was elected twice. The wrong guy was elected twice. What can I tell you, America? That's what happened. And now we got to persevere. All right, folks, we're coming back. Ken Blackwell and Jared Max, big half hour ahead, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Meet John and Nancy. Like many people, John and Nancy have spent their whole lives working hard, saving their money and investing wisely, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But the reality is, today's world is not the same as it was. John and Nancy's stocks have taken them on a serious roller coaster ride, and it's all but destroyed their retirement funds. Their house is not even close to being worth what they paid, and to boot, their middle-class paychecks no longer cover their costs. All that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. In fact, they are no longer thinking about when they will retire, they're wondering if they'll retire. Then one day, John and Nancy heard about a man named Tom Hutchison, a veteran of Wall Street for over 2 decades. Tom noticed that the wealthy invested differently than normal people, and their methods seemed to be a secret they didn't want to share. So Tom left his job, compiled the strategies, and published them in the controversial book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. John and Nancy immediately picked up a copy, began investing, and never looked back. Thanks to Powerful Secrets, John and Nancy now have investments that pay up to 20% a year. They learned about unique tax-advantaged investments, and their favorite chapter revealed a strategy that anyone can use to turn $50,000 into $1 million. Now, John and Nancy have control of their financial future in this new reality, and they have peace of mind about their investments that they never had before. Best of all, they are back on track to a secure retirement. To get your free copy of the book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns, simply visit www.myfinancialage.org.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029. 6029.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
Yes, indeedy. I want the crew to salute me from the control room. No, you don't have to do that. Okay, welcome back, Steve Malzberg. I'm so happy to welcome in our next guest, making his first appearance on this brand new Steve Malzberg show, which is almost a year old, believe it or not. But he was a guest with me several times at WOR Radio, once in studio, as a matter of fact, for one of his books at the time. Former Ohio Secretary of State, now Senior Fellow for Family Research Council. We welcome in Ken Blackwell. Hey, Ken.
Hey, good to be with you.
Good to talk to you. Very good to talk to you. Appreciate you coming on. All right, we got a lot to get to. So much to get to. There are so many goodies. Of course, they're really tragedies for the country, and we'll get to healthcare in a second. But I want to talk about something that John Boehner, I think he really stepped in it and really put his foot in it. Last week, when he, I guess it was revealed that the Republicans are holding that classes or something on how to talk to women, how candidates should approach women's issues, whatever. And he went on to say, yes, we need to be more sensitive to women. We're not sensitive enough. And it led Dana Bash to ask Eric Cantor, do you not know how to talk to a woman, sir? And, and they're all mocking and attacking, and it just reopened this whole war on women thing. And I think there was a better way around it for Boehner. He could have just said, yeah, we need to communicate better with all our constituencies. But instead he said, we're not sensitive enough. But as you pointed out, it's not the Republicans or the GOP that has a war on women. It's the Democrats on so many levels.
Oh, absolutely. And look, you underscored a point that I made with some panelists yesterday on CNN State of the Union. Politicians can always learn to speak more effectively, take their principled policy positions and package them in words that actually invite understanding and support by a variety of constituencies. So any politician worth his or her weight should always be looking for ways to communicate more effectively. What many on the left and and within the Republican leadership establishment, what they're looking for is an abandonment of principle. Now, that's not more effective communication. That is wholesale sellout of principled positions. And I believe that, today Americans are struggling to revive and maintain a country in which the individual and not the state is sovereign. And so when I see an attack on religious liberty, I don't think I have any problems in communicating the wrong-headedness of that attack and what we need to do to push back. And if I look at the country in its entirety, it would take someone with his or her head stuck in the ground to say that Republicans have a difficult time of communicating their message. We control 30 governorships. There are 26 states where we control both the House and the Senate chambers. We are no minor league party in the American political landscape. And so for us to have folks in the mainstream media tell us that we're a bunch of knuckle-dragging Neanderthals, it might be entertaining for them, but it would be foolish for us to start to respond to it as if they're making a good point.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you know why they go on with this? Because they look at the national polling. You're so right. I would love Boehner to stand up there and say exactly what you said. Boy, do we resonate with women. Look at the governorships we have. Look at the state houses we have. You're absolutely right. And then to point out, hey, look at this. There's fewer women in the workforce now than ever. More women now than ever are worried that their husbands can't find a job, that their families don't have enough money. The Democrats have managed to frame the message, and with the help of a media that's always going to be there for them, Ken, always going to be there for them. Their whole message to women, the whole basis of whether you're pro or anti-female is, are you going to pay for their birth control pills, which is insane to most women in this country.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I've looked at poll after poll that basically frame the issue this way. Do we think health care is best suited for your family if you are making the decisions along with your doctors or the government. Hands down, across all sorts of demographic groups, people do not want to be wrung out of the equation of health care. They don't want control snatched away from them. And when you frame it in those terms, those folks who are backing Obamacare, which most people believe is unworkable, unpopular, and underscored, unaffordable, we have no problems convincing women, men, you name them, across the voter groups. We have no problem in getting folks to say, enough already with this nonsense.
Right.
I mean, we even have the president now. After 5 years, the president has finally discovered government is ineffective and wasteful.
Yeah, we're talking to Ken Blackwell here on the Steve Malzberg Show, the former Ohio Secretary of State, Senior Fellow Family Research Council. Let me ask you, we just did a story from Peter Schweitzer, who writes this in the Arena at Politico yesterday, that and I framed it this way. Imagine if I told you that the president and Kathleen Sebelius, since this fiasco of the rollout started on October 1st through November 30th, had not met once face-to-face, one-on-one. You'd say, get out of here. Well, not only have they not met since October 1st of this year through November 30th, one-on-one, they haven't met for over 3 years and 4 months face-to-face, ending November 30th of this year. I mean, what does that tell you, Ken, about this president?
One, it tells me he has no confidence in his Secretary of HHS to have a clue about how to roll out a government program that is trying to capture 1/5 of our nation's economy. And two, that this guy doesn't have a clue as to what the inefficiencies are embedded in his healthcare program. And look, I say that not to say that the guy is incompetent. To the contrary, I think that this guy telegraphed. As a matter of fact, I've written a whole book on how he telegraphed what he was going to do. He laid it out for us. He wants to transform our market economy into a government-controlled economy and our family-centered society into a government-centered society. Yeah. He's told us this.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And you're right. So when people think that, he either has to be in so many respects either dumb like a fox or stupid, and I say, no. He's not a stupid man. I believe on every level he knows exactly what he's doing, whether it's supporting the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt or, dissing Israel and what he's giving to Iran. And when it comes to our economy, stifling job growth by creating uncertainty and regulating companies to death and scaring business owners. They don't know what to do, what to expect. He knows exactly what he's doing, does he not?
Yes, he does. Let me ask you just a fundamental question that I ask audiences all across this country. If you look throughout all of human history, you look at totalitarian regimes, authoritarian regimes, you look at big welfare state operations, what are the two things that they have in common? They all try to silence the church, and secondly, they all weaken, if not destroy, the traditional and natural family.
Absolutely, and that's where your role at the Family Research Council comes in, no doubt, because you're absolutely right. And by the way, that fine book you were talking about is the blueprint, I'm sure, of the two books, Obama's Plan to Subvert the Constitution and Build an Imperial Presidency, which, according to Jonathan Turley, he basically has.
Yeah, look, if you look at big welfare state operations, and you look at what he has said for now going on 7 years, This guy wants to transform our national philosophy, founded upon the primacy of the individual and the supremacy of God, to one founded upon the primacy of the collective good and the supremacy of the central or federal government. His big problem is that the Constitution of the United States stands in his way. So he looks for every way possible to go around it, to go under it, to jump over it, because he sees it as a stumbling block. Now, all you have to do is go to the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Well, my dad used to say that's a very sophisticated way of saying any knucklehead should be able to get that we're all created equal, that we're endowed by
our Creator. Yeah.
With certain unalienable rights, which suggests that our human rights are gifts from God, not grants from government.
Yep.
There's not a government on the face of the earth that can give us, through grants, our human rights.
You know what?
We organize our government to protect our basic, fundamental, and natural rights.
And Ken, look what we're here. We only got a couple of minutes, but look what the right for women to receive their contraception free is the centerpiece in the so-called war on women that they blame Republicans for. And if you're for religious freedom, then basically they're trying to knock down religious freedom by forcing religious institutions to provide that contraception. So it's all built around, that's how simplistic our media is, and that's how simplistic the Democrats think women are, is that, oh my gosh, above all else, we need our free birth control pills, because if we have to pay for them, our world will fall apart. So the heck with religious freedom. Republicans must be evil because we want our birth control pills. That's how little the media and the Democrats think of women.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly with you. Look, at the end of the day, you know, if a woman wants contraceptives, she can get them. But within the framework of our Constitution, if, in fact, I have a religious belief and I am an employer, I should have the right not to pay for her contraceptives.
Absolutely, and you do. Listen, Ken, this has been great fun. I hope you'll come back soon. We'll call you, and I'd love to have you come back. If you're up in New York, give us a call. Let us know, okay?
That's a promise.
All right. You have a Merry Christmas in the meantime.
Merry Christmas.
Thank
All
you.
righty.
Ken Blackwell, ladies and gentlemen, former Ohio Secretary of State. See, we got Jared Max coming up with sports in the next segment. So I'm saying former Ohio State Secretary. No. Former Secretary of State of Ohio. It's a little state somewhere. You might have heard of it once or twice. And senior fellow at the Family Research Council. We just had Tony Perkins on the other day. All right, we're coming back. Final segment, sports, Jared Max, and me, and you, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
We're in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and I'm not surprised. The statistics on obesity mirror an increasing trend of eating out or ordering in. In fact, some people dine out every night, but eating in restaurants is one of the biggest enemies of your heart. When you're in a restaurant, you don't really know what you're getting. and the calorie counts of many restaurant dishes are astronomical. In fact, some single dishes contain more calories than we should eat in an entire day. Eating in fast food restaurants is even worse. A diet of hamburgers, French fries, and shakes constitutes a fast lane to the emergency room. If you really want to help your heart, get in the habit of cooking simple meals at home. Here are 3 easy tips that will make your food taste better than even the best restaurant. Choose the best fruit in season. Your local farmer's market is a great place to start. It will probably still cost less than that pie you were thinking of buying. Get in the habit of using fresh herbs. You can use them in egg white omelets or dust them on the fish you grill or bake. And for a light dessert, choose a square or 2 of dark chocolate that you and your spouse can enjoy. There are lots of ways to make your heart healthy, but there are also lots of ways to damage it. That's why I wrote Fix It, Dr. Crandall's 90-day program. In it, I'll tell you how to kickstart your metabolism every day, how to pick the best diet for you, how to stop hunger from sabotaging your diet, the 7 superfoods for your heart. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
Every month.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, it's time to talk a little bit of sports, and we welcome back my buddy, former ESPN radio talk show host here in New York, Jared Max. Hello, Jared.
Hey, Steve. How are you, buddy?
Good. What's going on?
I'm just trying to figure out how many empty seats there are going to be around Major League Baseball this season. With all of these $100 million contracts going out there. Steve, I honestly, I thought we were past this a little bit. I started to think maybe about it in the last year. Maybe we're advancing as a sports society because it just seems, I don't know, maybe you want to talk about separation between a 1% and the rest of it. But when you just look at the numbers that are going out, what it costs to pay these players, and the number of empty seats, well, there is a correlation, and I don't know where we go from this. I don't know what teams are thinking. But it's certainly going to be an interesting time as you look for,
Yeah.
Jacoby Ellsbury's getting $153 million for 7 seasons, and boy, that's a lot of bucks.
It is.
Hal Steinbrenner, the Yankees owner, had insisted he wanted to put $189 million to be a full team payroll.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like that's going to be anywhere near there. And I mean, you've put on Yankees games. You've been to the Bronx in past seasons. It's as a Yankees fan, it's kind of embarrassing to look and see all those empty seats in September baseball games. That means something, and they're empties for a Yankees.
They're very expensive, absolutely. And Seattle, see the Yankees. The Yankees, I guess they feel they need to pass it along, but the Yankees make a ton of money from television contracts and radio contracts. But Seattle, I don't know where they make their money from, and I don't know how they're spending all this money on Robinson Cano and what that'll mean for ticket prices. But you're right. I thought, now look, I'm a free market guy, and I don't have a problem. And to me, owners, if owners are willing to pay this, then pay them. And I don't know what would move somebody to give Robinson Cano $225 million at his age in that market when you haven't been to the playoffs. He's not to me, do you think he's the marquee player that's going to fill that stadium? I don't.
No, I don't. I don't think Robinson, look, people might say the trajectory on his career is on the up. Well, I don't think it's on the up for a 10-year contract.
No.
Not even close.
No, and I don't even think Granderson with the Mets. I guess the Mets had to do that. I mean, he has hit like 80 home runs in the last 2 years, so I could see that. He's always a home run threat. But these guys are getting contracts very long for their age, and even Beltran. I mean, Beltran, 88 RBIs, 24 home. I mean, it's not.
Beltran done with the Mets.
I know. It is insane. It really is insane.
I see a stat, Steve. I was looking at this. I think it's on from Bleacher Report. Of the 48 contracts that have been written in baseball that are over $100 million, there have been 48 of them. Take a guess how many of those have been completed.
Wow. I don't know. Tell me.
Just a quarter of them. 13
really?
Out of 48 contracts.
Wow.
So when you see these kind of big, there have been some bad ones. Mets fans certainly can think of a couple of rough ones. Yankees fans as well. I mean, A-Rod worked his deal with Texas. This deal with Cano reminds me of. You remember when they used to say? I think it was George Steinbrenner who was saying, "Why did Tom Hicks go and give him all that money?"
Right.
That changed the game. And I wonder if now all of a sudden this changes the game again. Steve, you and I, we're just a couple of schlubs who are getting to talk about this. We're not in the multi-billionaire club.
Yeah, we're not in the multi-millionaire club either. We're not, or the millionaire club.
Let me ask you, if you have you ever overpaid for something because you felt you just had to have it, and maybe you had to have it before your friend got it? And you could get suckered into, and you're like, boy, why did I?
Yeah, but that might have cost me $50.
Well, right, and $50 to you and I.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
So that's how I think maybe sometimes this becomes a thing of,
true.
Well, let me. Like I'm thinking of that Seinfeld episode when the rich guy from Texas is betting Kramer
at the airport on arrivals and departures. Yeah,
right. That type of money,
Yeah. Well, we're talking to Jared Max here on the Steve Malzberg Show. We only have 2 minutes left. Let me ask you, Torrey. And Cox and La Russa, all three of those managers going into the Hall of Fame. Pretty wild.
Really cool that it happens on the same day. I really like that. I know a lot of talk, Steve, George Steinbrenner did not get in, but George will eventually get in. I'm very happy for Joe Torre on this. Steve, I know you wanted to talk baseball, but
no, we can talk football real quick.
Yeah, we'd be remiss.
What a Sunday, huh?
I can't. I'm a Vikings fan.
Vikings and Ravens, 5 touchdowns in the last 2.5 minutes.
This is the life of a Vikings fan. I've had my heart ripped out, and I felt like I don't know if I've ever suffered one like that. And sure enough, no, because there were never as many points scored in that little time, or 6 lead changes in the fourth. But yesterday, 90 touchdowns scored, an NFL record on a Sunday. You get Matt Prater with a 64-yard field goal. But again, for me, Steve, 64 yards in Denver. That's
I know. But still, it's the first time it's been done even in Denver. So
I get it. But on the show, on The Biggest Loser, they don't go and weigh them on the moon, do they?
No. But with everything, and I love watching these games that take place in the snow and the cold weather.
It makes me feel like I'm 8 again, and I'm going to come inside and take off like my jeans and see roast beef red legs.
Right, and my boots and my toes have to go on the radiator to get warm, to thaw out. And finally, I just lost my. Oh, and where was I? With my son at the Knicks game, and I'm grateful that we had the seats because they were great seats. It was a great time. But what a disaster for the Knicks.
Which New York coach will be around longer, Mike Woodson or Jason Kidd?
I don't. Oh, Kidd to me is a disaster. Woods at least has more gravitas. Hey, we'll do it again for longer, and we'll make it semi-regular if you like, my friend.
Sure, man.
Always great to talk to you, Jared Max, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Thanks for being out there. We have a big show tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. A lot of great guests coming up as usual on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg